Two of my favorite filmmakers just became Oscar winners, but one of them didn't even come to collect his statue? We were all anticipating the 96 Oscars. This is a very special Oscars year. Every movie felt really big, and a lot of them were talked about. Movies like Oppenheimer managed to expand to the public, and we're here to recap the winners and the best parts of the ceremony. First of all, let's talk about the ceremony itself. Jimmy Kimmel did a fine job as he usually does. His opening monologue was pretty good, but at the same time, he's just hosted so many times now that I'm like, you could totally get a lot of new people to host who haven't really done a show like this before. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt did a really great job of presenting together. Even Rami Youssef and Issa Rae were really great. I could honestly have seen either one of them hosting or both together. Why not? Alas, it's ABC. They want to find the easiest contract to sign. Anyway, let's get into what I thought of the awards themselves. I was really pleased with pretty much all of the winners. There were just a couple of snubs that I had. Let's get into them. First of all, visual effects. I was really hoping the creator would win, and unfortunately I didn't get that. I haven't seen Godzilla Minus One yet. I've heard nothing but good things, but man, the creator was such a beautiful looking blockbuster. Just in terms of action movies, we don't get that much immense world building and immersion. The Marvel movies are fun to look at, and so on, but it's only few and far between, like Blade Runner or this, where you truly feel a different world is created in front of your eyes. No pun intended. Obviously, we just saw that with Dune 2. Not saying the creator was necessarily better than that, but it really did deserve this Oscar in my opinion. Speaking of other worlds, I was really hoping Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse would win Best Animated Movie. I haven't seen The Boy and the Heron yet, and I've never been, the first guy you should talk to when it comes to anime and Studio Ghibli. But I just loved Across the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse, I wasn't like completely on the hype train when that came out, but this one, I understood it, and I truly think it's one of the most ambitious and beautiful looking animated movies. I really wish it had won. Let's talk about the more above the line categories. First of all, original screenplay went to Anatomy of a Fall, which I think the Academy was itching to give it something, and I'm glad that it was original screenplay. I would have personally given it to Celine Song, but I'm glad that Justine Triet is an Oscar winner for this movie particularly because it's such a magnificent film. Speaking of magnificent, Messi was in attendance at the Oscars, which I had heard somewhere that he wasn't gonna come because like people were complaining about him at the Oscars luncheon. First of all, if you're complaining about a dog being at Oscars events, you're the one who shouldn't come, okay? And I'm just so glad that Messi made it and that Jimmy Kimmel shouted him out in the speech, in his opening monologue, because just shout out, wonderful dog performance, totally won over all of our hearts. Adapted screenplay, Cord Jefferson won for American Fiction. For some reason, people started saying that Oppenheimer needed this award, considering that Nolan won in other categories. I'm kind of glad that they chose to split the love, especially in screenplay. I would have not minded Tony McNamara for Poor Things either, but American Fiction is so audacious and timely in its writing. And Cord Jefferson gave such a wonderful speech. He seems like such a cool guy to listen, talk to, whether it's about movies or his own experiences, and then how he's molded that into his work. Poor Things ate really well because I know some people weren't expecting some of the categories that it won, including costumes, but I'm glad that it won costumes, makeup, and production design. Not to mention, I think the biggest surprise for some was Emma Stone winning Best Actress. And this is probably the biggest moment of the night for me because I was itching with excitement with this category because actor and director and so on, I think we had a much clearer path as to who was going to win. But actress, it was just so split in my head between if Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone was going to win. And I genuinely thought this was going to be Lily's moment, and I was ready for her to deliver a wonderful and tear-jerking speech. That said, Emma Stone ended up taking this award, and I still could not be happier. She was more shocked than us, even, I think, that she had won this. But, wow, props to Emma for having now 2 leading actress Oscar wins. This one being my favorite performance of hers, actually. I'm glad that in the year of Oppenheimer and the Oppenheimer suite being talked about all the time, Poor Things still managed to take away 4 wins. Let's talk more about that Oppie suite because the Oppenhomies ate well, winning 7 times, but I also appreciate that they split the love a little bit. Oppenheimer won everything I feel it deserved and lost everything I feel it wouldn't have deserved. Like they didn't go crazy and give it production design or even sound. I'm really glad that the Zone of Interest won. And if you haven't seen that movie, go back and watch it and then keep watching this video because that is an essential 2023 movie in my opinion. Yeah, so Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. both won, which is very expected at that point. Da'Vine Joy Randolph won for supporting actress, and I love that they brought back something that they used to do like 10 or more years ago, where they would bring previous Oscar winners to talk about each individual nominee before presenting the winners. And it's really cool because not only do you get other actors showing appreciation for the current nominees, but you're bringing the different generations of Oscar winners together. Like you have Jennifer Lawrence, who won in 2012, plus Jessica Lange, who won in the 90s. Or you have Rita Moreno, who won supporting actress in the 60s, and then Regina King, who won in 2019. Also, they just did a beautiful job of selecting the people who are going to present these acting categories, like Lupita Nyong'o or Christoph Waltz, Sam Rockwell, people who are just really beloved. And then you have, of course, the previous year's winners, Brendan Fraser, Michelle Yeoh, Ke Huy Quan, and Jamie Lee Curtis actually presenting the winner from the envelope. Back to the subject of Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan winning Best Director was such a cathartic moment for me because I know a lot of you can say the same. Nolan is one of the reasons that I got into film the way I am now. And it's one of those where I'm like, that Oscar keeps coming close, but they never choose him to win. Speaking of Best Picture, look, I love Al Pacino, one of the greatest legends in this art that we're talking about. But he did a very weird job of presenting this category. He goes up and he says, yeah, the Best Picture winner is the most prestigious award, and there's 10 amazing films you've seen the clips of, but there's only one winner. And now I'm going to go to the envelope for that. And he like pauses a bit. Here it is. Because he's like fumbling the envelope a bit. That's fine. A lot of people do that. And then he just randomly goes, my eyes see Oppenheimer. But he kind of mumbles it. Like he doesn't say it even as clearly as I did. Like I didn't know if he was like making a joke about Oppenheimer or he was saying that Oppenheimer was the winner. So the applause was like really delayed. And so I was like, okay, is this a prank? Is this real? And then he said like Emma Thomas, Charles Roven, Christopher Nolan producers. So I was like, oh, we're safe. Oppenheimer won Best Picture. But I was really holding my breath until Pacino said that word Oppenheimer. And very unceremoniously, may I add, because in recent years, we've had a lot of instances where there's a technical darling that seems to be the front runner to win Best Picture. And then there's sort of an upset in the last couple of days or even the last moment. I'm talking The Revenant and Spotlight, or La La Land and Moonlight, or Roma and Green Book, The Power of the Dog and Coda. So I was like, anything could happen with the Oscar for Best Picture because Oppenheimer could win all these amazing technical categories and even directing. But I was fully expecting like maybe Pacino to whip out that envelope and be like American Fiction or like some wild card there. But really, Oppenheimer managed to pull a sweep that we haven't seen for at least 10 years, which is it wins every single major festival and that corresponding precursor for Best Picture. I'm talking Golden Globe for Best Drama, SAG for Best Ensemble, Critics' Choice and BAFTA for Best Picture, Producers Guild, Directors Guild, even Everything Everywhere, Nomadland might have had some blind spots where it lost or wasn't even nominated for certain awards in that realm. But Oppenheimer won literally every single category. So I was like, anything could happen with the Oscars, but it looks really good for Oppenheimer. So I'm glad that I held out hope because Oppenheimer is now a Best Picture winner and Christopher Nolan is a 2-time Academy Award winner. And it feels really good to say that. But there's no better way to conclude this Oscars talk than to talk about the performances. My eyes could not believe what I was seeing when Ryan Gosling got out of his seat, put that fedora on whoever was sitting next to him, and he performed I'm Just Ken. You got Mark Ronson on the electric guitar, which was cool to see. And then you had Simu Liu, Kingsley Benadir, Shruti Gatwa, I believe, was there. Scott Evans, I for sure recognize. All the actual Kens showing up and indulging, and he got Emma Stone and Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie to take part. I do not remember such an energetic and fun Oscars performance for a song like that in a while. I mean, this is a performance that's gonna be rewatched on YouTube for ages to come, and I am so happy to say that. Now, I'm not duking on What Was I Made For winning original song, because that's also an excellent song, and I will also say that performance was fantastic. Even as someone who's heard that song a lot now and seen her perform it in a couple different other videos, this was a beautiful performance, and the crowd's response, I think, sealed the deal for me. And you could tell how overjoyed Billy was with that performance and the audience response. I thought it was really lovely. Scott George as well, who was nominated, as well as his group of Osage Nation performers, performed the song from Killers of the Flower Moon, which I thought was a really lovely performance and tribute to the increasing Native American representation we're seeing in Hollywood, including in Killers of the Flower Moon. But yeah, those two Barbie song performances absolutely knocked it out of the park. And I think those are two all-time Oscar original song performances. It'll definitely be in one of their future montages. But yeah, this Oscars was a very satisfying one. I had my bones to pick here and there, but overall, Oppenheimer swept. Poor Things went home with 4. Billie Eilish won her second Oscar. Wes Anderson and Christopher Nolan became Oscar winners. Messi attended. Ryan Gosling owned the night. Danced the night away, should I say? I'll see myself out. But anyway, this award season has been wild, and it's been a blast to follow and see so much amazing talent being honored. Let me know what your snubs for the night were, as well as your surprises, and who are your favorite presenters and performances if you were watching the ceremony live. Let me know all of that, and of course, stay tuned for more.